Hey everybody, it's HBCU Game Day. It is football week, and that is, if that's not shocking enough to your system, we have another addition to the HBCU Game Day family. Joining us now, our latest contributor. He is a veteran. You see it over his shoulder. Recently retired from the Associated Press. I'll let Skip Foreman tell you how long he was at the AP. But now he's a contributor here at HBCU Game Day. We cannot be any more excited to have Skip on board. Skip, formally welcoming you to the HBCU Game Day community. We're so happy to have you, man. What made you want to, literally, the day after you leave the Associated Press, you really wanted to jump in full steam ahead here at HBCU Game Day?
This opportunity is the culmination of a career-long dream. I spent 43 years at the Associated Press. It took some time before I became the sports editor for North Carolina. In that vein, I was responsible for coverage of college sports. And what I really wanted to do at some point during the situation, my position, was to cover HBCUs, was to do the CIAA, do the MEAC. We did A&T because of its Division I status in basketball, but we could not do CIAA because it was D2 ball. But I convinced my colleagues for a short period of time that we needed to try. We needed to do something that would expose and give presence to the CIAA on our wire. It was a one-year experiment. It didn't go as well as I would have liked for it to go, and we had to abandon it. But we still had A&T in our sights. Ultimately, we would have Central in our sights. And I did what I could to write about HBCUs, whether it be news or sports. Fast forward to the establishment of HBCU Game Day, and it was my interest. It spoke to my heart. It said, this is pretty cool. This is a place I can go to find information I'm not going to find anywhere else, not even on my own wire. So finally, in June and July, as I was winding down at the AP, I was thinking, this is a good place. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. This is where my heart is. It's where my heart was. And now I get to do it. And that's the biggest accomplishment I could make. When your heart tells you there's something there for you to do, pursue it. And I pursued this, and I'm sure Steven's going, dude, you just worked 43 years for the AP and you want to work for us? It's like, yeah, well, yes, I do. And
I had the same reaction.
yeah, you guys were shocked. And it's like, this truly is a dream. This truly is a responsibility. It is a heart-fulfilling moment. I feel like I'm doing things that will inform a lot of people about a section of the college athletics that we don't know about. We don't tell enough of. We aren't up in the ESPN sphere on the regular. But we can change that. We can write stories about Livingstone. We can write stories about Jackson State. You can take it at both ends of the spectrum and say, here they are. This is what you don't know about this school. Here's what you need to know about this school. Not many people knew Livingstone had a blue field until this week, and we were able to tell them that. We know what Coach Prime has done at Jackson State. We've got Eddie George at Tennessee State. We have a wealth of people growing the sport day by day, and their stories need to be told, and I want to be among the people at HBCU Game Day telling them.
So Skip, you're a graduate of UNC Chapel Hill. The degree on the wall says Tar Heel for you. What is it, though? What is the attraction that you find? 'Cause I think this will be interesting perspective from you, that HBCUs can draw in people who necessarily didn't matriculate at an HBCU.
First thing is the passion. If you are around an HBCU graduate, you know their passion for their school. I have a neighbor who went to Hampton, played football there. He drives up there every weekend, sets up his truck, does a fish fry, the whole 9 yards. Uh, A&T's homecoming, nothing like it on earth. You hear about it every year.
Just ask an Aggie.
Just ask an Aggie. That's all you need to do. Uh, NC Central, Smith. I have friends who went to HBCUs, and you can see their passion for their schools by merely mentioning the name. And that's what people will learn. You may have passion for your school, and that's all well and good, but understand you're not alone. We can take you to a community that you've not visited before. We can take you to a scene that maybe you haven't experienced before. It's like the guy who went to the football game at Jackson State last year
Oh yeah,
because he
yeah.
just felt like he wanted to go and found out a lot of stuff. I don't know how legit that turned out to be and if he's going to go back to Jackson State football games, but the idea is to enlighten. If you don't know, we will tell you. And I hope in telling you, we draw your interest and keep your interest because there are a lot of stories and they aren't just between the sidelines on Saturday.
You know, people. It might take you a moment as a member of our community to feel it, but Skip has already brought a lot of knowledge, a lot of credibility, added credibility to what we're doing. I was just on the phone with Skip yesterday. I was like, Skip, got a little news judgment here. Kind of maybe. Like, what do you think? Skip was like, no, yeah, right here. So it's been a pleasure to have you. You've had instant impact already. You're working on a story this week that people should be able to read now. You talked to one of your classmates, former championship-winning coach at North Carolina A&T, Rod Broadway. What can we expect to see and read in that article there, Skip?
What I gained from talking to Coach Broadway yesterday was quite interesting because we both came up in an era where having Black men or women lead us was an exception. In his case, it was football. And he told the story of his first coach being a Black man, middle school, what they then called junior high. But that made an impression on him because he'd never seen it before. And that told him at that point he wanted to be a coach when he grew up. And therein lies the catalyst for what became, and I think I can say this, one of the best football coaches the state of North Carolina has ever had. He doesn't get the credit, I think, that he is due. He will get much of it this weekend on the floor of the stadium where he played. But when you think about his body of work, I mean, he was at Duke in its heyday under Steve Spurrier. He got a championship for Grambling. He lifted A&T from the depths and made it an MEAC powerhouse. And he took 2 Celebration Bowl titles before he left. His resume is virtually immaculate, but we've never told his story adequately. I mean, it can be found, but on the wider scope, it hasn't been told, and I'm working to tell that. So I'm working on that today to get it out as soon as possible so people can read it in advance of the game on Saturday, so they'll get a broader picture of who Rod Broadway is, the type of coach he was, the type of man he is, what led him to where he was as a coach, and how he was able to step off having done all he could do.
And the game you speak of, it'll be FAMU visiting UNC. You'll be there. Your first official, not your first game by far, your first official game as a member here at HBCU Gameday. What are you looking forward to seeing? It's a tall task for FAMU, but a lot of interesting kind of things to watch and see how they play out this weekend against UNC.
There are a lot indeed. At first, in terms of North Carolina, they're trying to rebound from a season that disappointed them and their fans. They want to come out here with a new quarterback and a new sense of urgency and mission to do well. Florida A&M, we have to face the reality. It's a paycheck game. It's a game where they're the opponent who will walk off with a significant amount of money for being the target, being the opponent. But they too have to be wary because Jackson State lies on the horizon for them, and they can't afford injuries, which sometimes happen in games like this because the talent level's a bit disparate. They want to play well, and I can't think the coaches haven't told them you can win this game, although it's a tall task. They have to execute what they know they can do, get out of the game without suffering significant or even minor injuries, and get themselves in position to play their first big ball game 2 weeks into the season, which is huge. You get showcase games all over the country and at all levels of the sport, and Jackson State FAMU is as big as it's going to get in late August, early September.
Yeah, no cupcakes. no cupcakes on that FAMU schedule at all. They hit the ground running, literally. We are so glad that Skip Foreman chose to hit the ground running with us here at HBCU Gameday. Skip, the affinity I have for you and your wife Jerry is just a family of journalists, and it's just so awesome to have you on board, man. And we're so excited about all the things to come and that you'll be writing and the knowledge you'll be dropping on us here at HBCU Gameday.
My mind hasn't rested. I tell you this in all honesty. I have scoured the corners of the website to try and draw inspiration for my own work. We have a wealth of HBCUs in North Carolina and indeed across the country. And if I can't find a place to find a story, then I have failed you and I have failed me. I am here to tell those stories, and I hope to find them all, or as many as possible. What people don't know, there's a lot of energy on this website. There are people working hard to present the HBCU story. And if you are a devotee of this webpage, thank you for watching. If you haven't watched it yet, or you're watching this and you know somebody who doesn't know about it, tell them, because all they need to know about HBCUs will be found on this page. And if we don't have it yet, we will get it. I have faith in this page. I have faith in you, Tolly, you, Stephen Gaither as well. So let's get this party started. It's football season.
I couldn't have said it any better. It's HBCU Gameday, HBCUGameday.com. He's Skip in North Carolina. I'm Tolly in Atlanta. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We'll talk to you soon.